Hello students, welcome to my channel Learning History Made Easy. In today's video, I will be explaining about the topic Sources of History, Archaeological Sources. Before getting into the video, if anyone is seeing the channel for the first time or if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and share it with your friends. And also click the bell button to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. So without wasting time, let us get into the video. So as I have told, the topic is Sources of History. Sources of History. So before going into the topic, we should understand why are the sources so important. See, basically we all know that history is a record of past events. History is a record of past events and achievements of man through the ages. But these events and achievements cannot be replayed or reproduced. So they had to be reconstructed. The past events or past achievements has to be reconstructed. And for reconstructing these events or achievements, we need sources. To reconstruct, the main thing we need is sources. So we can reconstruct past events, or we can reconstruct the achievements of rulers. We can reconstruct the history based on sources. So that is why sources are very important related to history. So no sources, then there is no history. And we have a variety of sources for studying the history, and it is difficult for historians to write history without the help of all these sources. So now let us go into a detailed study of the sources of history. So as I have told you, history is a record of past events, and historians try to reconstruct the past based on these available sources. So regarding sources, first we have to understand is basic history is classified into two different periods, that is prehistoric period and historic period. History is classified into prehistoric period and historic period based on the sources available. Now what is prehistoric period? The period where written records are not available are called as prehistoric period. So here there are no written records. No written records are available to reconstruct the history. That age is called as prehistoric period. And what is historic period? Historic period are those when we get written records. When written records are available, it is called as historic period. So here when no written records are available, basically historians depend upon material things, that is archaeological sources. Archaeological sources. Why? Because there are no written records available. So material things are there. With that they have to reconstruct history, and those are archaeological sources. That is what we are going to discuss in detail in this video. And when we have written records, naturally literary sources are available, that is written records. So archaeological sources mainly give information about prehistoric period when there was no written records, and literary source gives information about historic period where we use written records. So these are the main divisions regarding the sources of history. So prehistoric period, no written records, archaeological sources; historic period, written records and literary sources. Here in the historic period, both archaeological and literary sources are used to reconstruct history. So now let us move on to the next point. The study of Indian antiquities was initiated by scholars like Sir William Jones. See, Sir William Jones has a very important role here. Sir William Jones, he was the person who founded the Asiatic Society of Bengal. Asiatic Society of Bengal was founded by Sir William Jones. And Lord Curzon was a person who started a separate department of archaeology. Department of Archaeology. Archaeology sorry, was started by Lord Curzon. So Sir William Jones started the Asiatic Society of Bengal and Lord Curzon started the Department of Archaeology. So these much are the introduction points related to the sources of history. Now, as I have told you, in today's video we are going to see in detail about the archaeological sources. Archaeological sources. So let us see what are archaeological sources. Archaeological sources are remains of past human life and activities. Human life and activities. So remains of past human life and activities. What all things were used by the people what all things were used by the early man, or what all things were left out after their life. So all these things are archaeological sources. They are remains of past human life and activities. And what are included in that? Some examples we can say. It includes human relics and artifacts. Okay, so it includes, we can say, earliest stone tools, then man-made objects, all the things which were used in the past or which were remains of the past human life can be included in archaeological sources. Example, coins, pottery, seals, and as I've told before, tools, then paintings. The list goes on. So many things which were used by the man for their life or in their early life were called as archaeological sources. So they are remains of past human life and activities. It includes the human relics and artifacts from earlier stone tools to man-made objects. And the important archaeological sources are coins, seals, tools, jewelry, paintings, etc. And they are the only source when we don't have written records. So they are the only source on which historians depend when there was no written records. So as we have already studied, the time when there was no written records, we call it as prehistoric period. So these are the only source to reconstruct about the prehistoric period. So that is the importance of archaeological sources. Now let us move on and see how do we find out these archaeological sources. So let us see some important terminologies here. The first one is exploration. So what is exploration? It is a process. Exploration is a process of searching and collecting objects, related to the past. Okay, related to the past is called as exploration. So historians search and find out objects or places or things related to past. That is called as exploration. So the process of searching and collecting objects related to the past is called as exploration. And the outcome of these exploration, so from these exploration, what all outcomes are there? That is, what do they get after exploration? They find out inscriptions, they find out monuments, they find out coins, etc. So they find out all the archaeological sources after exploration. So the outcome of these explorations, such as inscriptions, monuments, coins, etc., have great importance in the process of knowing the history of the past. So from these exploration we get all the remains or all the archaeological remains, and from that history is reconstructed. So that is about exploration. So now just let us go through the points which we have studied till now. Sources. History is a record of past events and achievements of man through the ages. Historians try to reconstruct the past based on the available sources. History is classified into prehistoric period and historic period based on the sources available to reconstruct it. The period where the written records are not available is known as prehistoric period, and when we get written records is known as historic period. The sources of history can be classified into archaeological sources and literary sources. The study of Indian antiquities was initiated by scholars like Sir William Jones. He founded the Asiatic Society of Bengal. Lord Curzon set up a separate department of archaeology. Archaeological sources. They are the remains of past human life and activities. It includes the human relics and artifacts from the earliest stone tools to the man-made objects. The important archaeological sources are coins, seals, tools, jewelry, pottery, paintings, etc. They are the only sources when we do not have written records. Explorations. The process of searching and collecting objects related to past is known as exploration. The outcomes of these explorations, such as inscription, monuments, coins, etc., have great importance in the process of knowing the history of the past. So now let us move on to the next topic, that is excavation. Excavation. So what is excavation? Excavation is the scientific digging of the earth for unearthing sources. So now the archaeologists explore the places and they find out the remains, or they find out the sources. To find out, they use the method of excavation. What is excavation? It is a scientific digging of the earth for unearthing sources. So if they know that in a place there are some archaeological remains, they come and excavate. Scientifically, they dig the place for unearthing the sources. And after finding out the sources, they use different methods of dating. They have to find out how old the thing found out is, or what is the age of the material found. For that, they use different dating methods like carbon-14 and radiocarbon dating method. Radiocarbon dating method. So these are the different dating methods used, that is carbon-14 dating method, radiocarbon dating methods. Like that, they use different methods for dating. So if we try to see some examples of important excavations, we can think about the excavation at Mohenjo-daro. That is 1922-23. R.D. Banerjee, he started the work of excavation at Mohenjo-daro in Sindh. Okay, Mohenjo-daro in Sindh. That excavation was started by R.D. Banerjee, and the information got from Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were collected, and Sir John Marshall wrote his work on the Indus civilization. So after the excavation, Sir John Marshall, after collecting the information about Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, Sir John Marshall wrote his work on the Indus civilization. So that means from that excavation, a lot of information about Indus civilization has been found out. So 1922-23, R.D. Banerjee started the work of excavation of Mohenjo-daro, and the information got from Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were collected, and Sir John Marshall wrote his work on Indus civilization. And another example we can say is Dr. Spooner. Dr. Spooner, he was one of the important person who tried to excavate Pataliputra, but in between some problems came and he was not able to fully do it. But Dr. Spooner has the credit of excavating Pataliputra. So like that, many important historians have done the work of excavation to find out the sources. So excavation is a scientific digging of earth to find out sources. So now after excavation, let us move on to the next topic related to archaeological source, that is epigraphy. Epigraphy. See, epigraphy, the study of inscriptions is called as epigraphy. Inscriptions study. The study of inscriptions is called as epigraphy. Now, inscriptions were inscribed on pillars, stones, rocks, copper plates, then wooden or stone tablets. So all these things were used for inscriptions. So inscriptions, they were made on pillars, stones, rocks, copper plates, stone tablets. On all these things inscriptions were made, and studying about these inscriptions were called as epigraphy. And they give us a lot of information. As you all know, inscriptions gives us a lot of information. One of the most important inscription we can think about is Ashoka's inscription. The Ashokan inscription is one of the most important inscription we can think about in Indian history. Now we can just continue with inscriptions. They are the most valuable and reliable and direct source in writing about history. So inscriptions are inscriptions are considered to be valuable, reliable and direct source in writing history. So why are inscriptions so valuable and reliable? The first thing is, as they are engraved on stones and metals, they cannot be tampered very easily. They cannot be tampered. Tampered means they cannot be destroyed very easily, because they are either on pillars, stones, rocks, copper plates, stone tablets. So it cannot be tampered or destroyed very easily. So that is the first reason why we say that inscriptions are very reliable source. And they give us a correct idea of the method of writing. From inscriptions, we get an idea of the method of writing. Okay. One benefit is they cannot be destroyed very easily. Then it gives information about the method of writing used during that period, followed at that time, because they are actually inscribed during the same time. The inscriptions are made in that period only. So when you see this the method of writing, you can understand. Then approximate age can be fixed by looking at the character of the script. So they can fix the approximate age. Approximate age can be fixed by looking at the character of the script. Character of the script. So in other archaeological sources, they have to use many dating methods, but in inscriptions, approximate age can be fixed by looking at the character of the script, and location also can be understood very easily from where the inscriptions have been found. Locations also gives important information. Now in India, the inscriptions, so all these are the positive points about inscriptions. Now the inscriptions found in India are written in variety of languages like Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit, etc. So there are many different languages which we find inscriptions in India, and inscriptions have been found both on stone and copper plates and other materials. As we have seen, it has been found on stone, copper plates, wooden tablets, etc. The inscriptions which have been found on copper plates, so the copper plated inscriptions, they are called by the name Tamrapata or Tamrapatra, etc. There are different names. They are called as Tamrapata, Patra, etc. And on these inscriptions, mostly what were inscribed, it is said that land grants were mostly inscribed on these copper plates. The details about land grants given to other people were inscribed on these copper plates. Mainly land grants were inscribed on these copper plates. And how can you tell that land grants can have been inscribed? It is said that Fahian, the Chinese traveler Fahian, tells about Buddhist monastery copper plates. He tells about many Buddhist monastery copper plates, and these copper plates refer to grant of land. So Fahian, he came to study about Buddhism. He says about Buddhist monastery copper plates, which refers to grant of land. So that is one example. Another type of, so one type of inscriptions we studied tells about land grants. Another type of inscriptions can be eulogistic inscriptions. Eulogistic inscriptions are called as prashasti. Okay, eulogistic inscriptions are called as prashasti, and these will be mostly about one king, and it will be like a like praising the king. So eulogistic inscriptions are called as prashasti. The benefit of eulogy is that these kind of inscriptions, they consist of name of the ruler. Name of ruler will be written, then genealogy of the ruler. Genealogy of the ruler will be written. Achievements of the ruler will be written. Conflicts of the ruler will be written. So all details about the ruler will be written in eulogical inscriptions or prashasti. So to understand the complete detail about one ruler, the eulogies will be very helpful. So that is how the inscriptions are. Now let us see some examples of the important inscriptions. One is, as we have already studied, Ashoka's inscription, and Ashoka's inscription gives information about it. It can be called as a religious as well as administrative inscription. It gives information about the religion and administration, Ashoka's inscription. Then another example is Hadigumpa inscription. Hadigumpa inscription. Hadigumpa inscription of Kharavela. This is about the achievements of Kharavela in chronological order. So this is mainly achievements of Kharavela in chronological order. So this can be said as a eulogy or prashasti. And next again is Allahabad pillar inscription. Allahabad pillar inscription. Allahabad pillar inscription is about the achievements of Samudragupta. This also tells about the achievements of Samudragupta. So all these are the examples of important. There are so many inscriptions found in India, but I am just telling about a few examples. You can refer to your books and find out more details about inscriptions. So these are some of the main inscriptions found in India. So just let us go through the points which we have studied till now. Excavation. It is a scientific digging of earth for unearthing sources. There are different dating methods like carbon-14 and radiocarbon dating. Example, in 1922-23, R.D. Banerjee started the work of excavation at Mohenjo-daro in Sindh. The information got from Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were collected, and Sir John Marshall wrote his work on the Indus civilization. Dr. Spooner was one of the important persons who tried to excavate Patliputra. Now epigraphy. Inscriptions were inscribed on pillars, stones, rocks, copper plates and wooden or stone tablets. Study of inscriptions was called epigraphy. They give us a lot of information. Ashoka's inscriptions are important in this respect. Inscriptions, they are the most valuable, reliable and direct source in writing history. They are engraved on stones and metals and cannot be tampered easily. The inscriptions gives us correct idea of the method of writing followed at a time when they are actually inscribed. Approximate age can be fixed looking at the character of their script, and location also gives important information. The inscriptions found in India were written in various languages like Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit, Kannada, etc. Inscriptions have been found on stone and copper plates and other materials. An inscription copper plated was called as Tamrapata, Tamrapatra, etc. Land grants were inscribed on copper plates. Fahian tells about many Buddhist monastery copper plates which refer to grant of land. Eulogistic inscriptions are called as prashastis. They contain the name of the ruler, genealogy, achievement, conflict, etc. Example, Ashoka's inscription, religious and administrative inscription. Hathigumba inscription of Kharavela, achievements of Kharavela in chronological order. It is an example of pure eulogy. Allahabad pillar inscription of Samudragupta, which gives information about achievements of Samudragupta. So now let us move on to the next topic. The next topic is numismatics. Numismatics. So the study of coins is called as numismatics. So this is one of the again one of the important archaeological sources, that is coins. The study of coins is called as numismatics. They help us to understand. So what are the benefits of studying coins? Coins help us to understand the age, the dynasty, economic condition, script, etc. So coins helps us to understand age, dynasty, economic condition, scripts, etc. And coins are made using different metals like gold, silver, copper, etc. So mainly coins are made using gold, silver and copper. Now the earliest coins of India had only figures. Okay, so earlier the earliest coins had only figures on them, only figures. Devices or symbols and figures, devices or symbols. Okay, figures or symbols were there on the earliest coin. There was no legends. After the Greek invasion of India, there was a change in the coin system, and the practice of writing names of kings on the coins were started. So earliest coins contain figures and symbols, and after the Greek invasion, the practice of writing names of kings started. And coins mention the year in which they were issued. So coins are helpful and they help in knowing the year in which they are issued, and thus it helps to fix up the chronology. So once you know the year in which it is issued, it is very easy to fix the chronology. And availability of coins. So if coins of one country is found in another, that is a proof of trade relation, commercial relation. Okay, coin of one country in another is a proof of commercial relations between them. And coins also help in indicating prosperity. So if we found complete gold coins in an area, that shows the empire was prosperous. So if there were only copper coins, they show the other way. So coins also help in understanding the prosperity of the country. So all these ways, coins also are an important archaeological source in reconstructing the history. Now the last topic in archaeological source are monuments. So what are monuments? Monuments are structures or sites of historical importance. Structures or sites of historical importance are called as monuments. For example, we can say forts, palaces, caves, statues. All these are examples of monuments. Any structure or site which has historical importance are monuments, and they are very reliable source of history. Some examples of monuments, we can say excavation of old sites at Pataliputra. Okay, excavation of old sites at Pataliputra gives information regarding Mauryas. Okay, the excavation done to find out monuments at Pataliputra gives information regarding Mauryas. Again, excavation at Sarnath. Sarnath have added to our knowledge regarding Ashoka and Buddhism. Excavation done at Sarnath, the monuments found out there help us to know about Ashoka and Buddhism. Then excavation of old towns like we can say Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Taxila. All these gives us a lot of information. For example, the study of sculptures from Taxila gives us information regarding Gandhara School of Art. So like this, monuments play a very important role in reconstructing history. So they are structures or sites of historical importance. They include forts, palaces, caves, statues, etc. Some examples are the old sites at Pataliputra gives information the sites, the old sites at Patliputra gives us information regarding Mauryas. Then the monuments at Sarnath gives us information regarding Ashoka and Buddhism. Old towns of Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and Taxila also give us a lot of information. For example, the sculptures of Taxila gives us an idea about Gandhara school of art. So these were the important archaeological sources. Now let us move on to the points. Numismatics. The study of coins is known as numismatics. They help us to understand the age, dynasty, economic conditions, script, etc. Coins are of various metals like gold, silver and copper. The earliest coins of India have only figures, devices or symbols and no legends. After the Greek invasion of India, the practice of writing the names of king on the coins was started. Coins mention the year in which they are issued and hence help us to fix up chronology. Availability of coins are of one country in another country tell about the commercial relation between them. Coins also help in indicating the prosperity of the country. Monuments. They are the structures or sites of historical importance. Forts, palaces, caves, statues, etc. give us a lot of useful and reliable information. Example, the excavation of old sites of Patliputra gives us information regarding Mauryas. Excavation at Sarnath have added to our knowledge regarding Ashoka and Buddhism. Excavation of sites of old towns like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and Taxila gives us a lot of information. Study of sculptures from Taxila gives us idea of Gandhara school of art. So these were the important points regarding archaeological sources. The next topic is regarding literary source, which gives more information about historic age. So that I will be explaining in the next video. So I hope all the points explained in today's video are clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comment section. And please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Your likes and shares will be of a great encouragement for me to make more and more videos. So I hope to see you all soon in the coming video. Thank you for watching.